Hello lovely humans, my name is Very Lisa, and today I am doing a speed build of the tiny house that I hope to build at some point in the future. It won't look exactly like this. There are certain things that I intend to have in my tiny house that you can't reproduce in The Sims, and there are kind of liberties that you can take in real life with sort of nudging measurements and getting a spare few centimetres here and there that you can't actually do in The Sims. It's really tied to that grid system. So what I have done with my tiny house build in The Sims is I have built a 3 by, what did I make it, 3 by 7 or 3 by 8? I think I went 3 by 8. If I'm working on the assumption that a tiny house in Australia anyway has to be no wider than 2.5 metres and no longer than 9 metres, but it's usually about 6 or 7 metres if you want to put it on wheels and tow it on the road. Of course, if you want to just build it in place and not move it around, or if you want to get a special permit to move it, then it doesn't have to fit those restrictions. But most people in Australia anyway who want to build tiny houses try to aim to stick within that limitation of no wider than 2.5 metres and no longer than 9. So my aim is to have about a 7 metre long tiny house. I have built 3 squares wide here because you can't have 2.5 squares of wall in The Sims. You've got to have 3, and that's good, I think. Really 2.5 metres. A bed is not actually 3 metres long, it's 2.5, so I think that's about right. So I intend that my tiny house will be a fairly normal rectangular shape. I haven't actually decided on the finishes, so for this build I just went with what looked nice in The Sims that I could get it to match with window frames and flooring. I do like these sort of neutral beige or light sort of greyish brown tones, but what I actually end up going with depends on what's available and what the builder wants to provide, because I'm not actually going to be building it myself. I'm going to commission someone else to build it. I am a bit old and a bit creaky to be able to build a tiny house myself, so luckily there are a few people in Australia who are starting to build tiny homes for sale, and I also have a brother who's a carpenter who can help me either build what I need to build or find the right person and make sure that they're doing the right job for me. So I spent a bit of time trying to work out where everything should fit. This is actually quite similar, by the way, to a tiny house design called The Portal, which is made by the Tiny House Company in Australia. I love their design, which is basically it's got a deck running the full length of the tiny house along the long end, and it also has a bed that raises and lowers. So there's a couch and a sort of sectional couch down one end, and above that there's a bed that raises up to the ceiling on a sort of a pneumatic, I think it's a pneumatic system or a hydraulic system or something, I don't know. Now I can't, their build, it's gorgeous and it's about 4 times as much as I can afford, unfortunately, so I'm probably going to go for a much cheaper version of the similar sort of solution, which is based on the sort of system that raises and lowers storage stuff from a garage door, which was designed or invented as a tiny house solution by a builder called Anna White, who works in Alaska. And she came up with that solution when she wanted a bed that raised and lowered in her tiny house, or a tiny house that she was building for a client. So I can't show that in The Sims. Obviously we can't put a bed over a couch and have that go up and down, but I've just put the bed where it would be, and I end up putting some stuff around the bed that makes it look as though that could be the mechanism that lifts and lowers the bed. Also in my tiny house I'm going to have a loft where my child will sleep. My child is currently 16, turning 17 later this year, and they do spend a lot of time at their dad's, so they don't need heaps of space in my tiny house. I'm sure they would like it if I had a larger house, but I'm so keen to get into my tiny house that they've just had to accept that this is the way it's going to be. So they will have a loft, which will be over the kitchen and bathroom area and accessed by a ladder. And we're going to have to do some creative design to work out how it all fits in together, but I think we can do it. I believe it's possible, and I've seen other people do similar things. Sorry, I'm a bit sniffly today. I have to apologise for that. And yeah, I'm a little bit sniffly because I'm actually allergic to dogs, and I have two dogs, and I love them to bits, and I will never get rid of my dogs, but they do make me snuffle. So I'm actually off work at the moment. On the days that I go to work, I generally don't spend so much time around the dogs that I get snuffly, but on the days that I'm home, I tend to get a bit of a snuffly nose. So I'm sucking on something that will dry up my nose, I hope. I've given myself all the antihistamines. And I'm still sniffling a little bit, so please forgive that. I'll try to edit out the sniffles wherever I catch them, but if I miss some, and I'm sure I will, please forgive. And I think if I'm going to keep recording videos, I'm going to need to come up with a solution to help me make better recordings without the snuffles so much. Maybe I have to do the recordings outside, who knows. Yeah, so I think I have most of the finishes sorted out. It's a pretty simple design. I have the Aga or the wood burning stove in there. I don't know if that's going to be practical for me to really have in a tiny house, but I have lived in a small house anyway that my grandparents built, which had a wood burning stove in it, and that used to heat the water and you did all your cooking on it. And of course it heated the space, and it was the most wonderful thing. So I have put it in there in the hope that maybe, but really a wood burning stove needs a lot of space around it. And the sort of wood burning stove that you would actually put in a tiny house would be nowhere near that big. It would be half or a quarter of that size. So what I'll probably end up doing is just having a regular cooking surface, like the sort of hot plates, and probably won't have an oven, or maybe just oh glory, I think my sneezing and nose have got worse since I started talking about it. So I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to find some cute sound effects on YouTube and sub them in whenever, like royalty-free ones, sub them in over my sneezes. So yeah, that's anytime I sneeze or sniff, I'll try to put a little sound effect in, and then I will learn something about editing videos. So that would be good fun. Yes, so the idea is that one side is your cooking and preparing and storage. I wouldn't actually have a fridge that big. I would probably have a half-size fridge. I don't really like cooking, so not that keen. So there'll actually be a big wardrobe where that fridge is in the build. But I don't have a wardrobe in this tiny house build in The Sims. I have player tested everything and it seems to work okay. There are some things that I fixed after I finished recording, like the place where I ended up putting the bin is underneath those planter boxes that are attached to the walls, and the test sim could not get to the bin when it was there, so I ended up moving it into the kitchen near the doorway into the bathroom. I put some planter pots on the veranda as well, and somehow the way I'd positioned them made it a little difficult for her to get to them, so I did end up moving those around. And finally I did add a fair bit more lighting to the build after I'd originally finished recording, because I did all my screenshots and I even figured out how to do the fancy fly-through things that I've seen other Sims builders do and that impressed me so much, so I've done those at the start of the video. I can't tell if they're too fast though. I would like to slow them down, so let me know what you think of the fly-throughs at the start, of the music that I have been trying to figure out how to add. I mean, part of the reason why I'm making these videos is because I want to learn how to make videos, because it's fun. So I have been trying to put music in and trying new camera angles and techniques and stuff. I do love to learn stuff, and I feel like with making videos, it's almost like, because I work as a writer, as a business and technical writer, and I have been for 25 years at least now, and I feel like I've learned so much about writing in that time, and there's always something new to learn. And to some extent I think it feels like making videos is kind of the same, that you can learn the basics pretty quickly, but to get really good at it, I imagine it's the work of a lifetime, to get fabulously good at making videos, but to be a little bit good at making them enough to publish my Sims speed builds on YouTube. If you like this video, it would mean heaps to me if you would click the like button, and if you would like to see more, click the subscribe button and you'll get notified of any new videos that I put out. Okay, thanks guys. See you later, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.